join a former US diplomat by the name of Matthew Bryza. If you were with us last night, Matthew, thank you very much indeed for joining us. You've ended up in Sofia now, so you've been on the move today, no doubt keeping in touch with the news that's been developing. And on top of the Syria accession plan we were discussing 24 hours ago, we've now got a reset in Türkiye-US relations. Is that a good thing in your view?
Yeah, it's nice to be back with you on this really important day. Yes, of course it's a good thing. I mean, for years, many of us who are either resident in Turkey or the United States or citizens have wanted to see the relationship get back on track because it doesn't make sense that the relationship had deteriorated so far. I think there was a lot of emotionality and misunderstanding that could have been avoided. I think there has been a lack of readiness in Washington to view the world the way Turkey does, and vice versa. So we were in a perverse situation back in, let's say, 2016, when the coup attempt happened, that the United States was arguing, or many people in the United States were arguing, well, it wasn't a real coup attempt, and maybe President Erdogan engineered the whole thing. And in Turkey, the argument was that, well, of course it was a real coup attempt, and it's probably the United States that engineered it. So we got way off track. And NATO's two largest militaries need to be working together. And hopefully, the relationship is now back on track. There's still a ways to go, though. I mean, in Washington and in the academic community across the United States, there's still a perception or a misperception that Turkey is not a normal democracy. I think President Erdogan's strong victory in the last election, and the AKP's victory helped to put some of those arguments to rest, but there still is a perception that that elections may be free in Turkey, but they're not fair. So there's still a little more work to do in U.S.-Turkey relations, but it's a much better situation speaking to you today, even than last night.
And in terms of the reset for the USA, we've acknowledged that, and the facilitation, if you like, of the Sweden membership. I mentioned to one of my other guests about the relationship Turkey has had with Moscow in recent years, particularly vis-à-vis the war in Ukraine. I think of that grain deal that they managed to negotiate. In getting closer or more significant part of NATO, does that harm the relationship with Moscow, do you think? Is it possible to say?
No, I don't think so at all. My view of how you deal with Russia, and by the way, I spent all of my diplomatic career dealing with Russia, either in it or around it, whether I was overseeing relations with Turkey and many other countries or living in Moscow. All of my experience tells me that the only way you get a workable, good relationship with Russia is to win the respect of Moscow. And as a very senior Russian parliamentarian told me back in 1996, we Russians believe that respect and real power come from fear. If we don't fear you, we don't respect you. And if you don't fear us, we think you don't respect us. So I don't think Turkey needs to threaten Russia in any way. But I think that President Putin respects President Erdogan precisely because in the case of Ukraine, Turkey has pursued its own national interests. It's offered unwavering support for Ukraine's territorial integrity, unwavering condemnation of Russia's invasion and then its annexation of Crimea, unwavering military technological support in the form of the drones that have played such a decisive role in this war. But at the same time, President Erdogan has kept the channels open, as you just said, to President Putin. He hasn't allowed Turkey to join the transatlantic community's sanctions against Russia. Personally, I think that's understandable, but a strategic mistake. But it's understandable why Turkey is doing that. And he's never insulted President Putin or done anything other than show respect for President Putin. So I think that combination of being tough and staking out Turkey's interests, whether or not Russia likes it, but at the same time, keeping communications open with Russia is exactly the magic formula for how any country can get along with Russia.
Matthew Bryza, great to talk to you, and thank you very much indeed for making time for TRT.